Yeah, it. So, well, I already learned about team sports, when I was a kid, with the National Guard and military intelligence and stuff. So, I went and took team sports in high school and skipped PE because I didn't think I needed it because, I didn't need PE. So, anyways, let me tell you about, you know, those parents out there down south with all the crazy shit. Well, I hate to say it like that, it's the truth, but, you know, running around acting crazy, and want to teach about gun safety and stuff. But like, well, wait a minute. Well, I mean, you got them on those little game systems and watching crazy stuff on TV, and parents ain't paying attention. So, well, maybe if they taught them good morals, ethics, and values, and it says, hey, you got all these stimulus checks to start businesses and help build small businesses and stuff, and you see all these hair and nail places and all this other stuff, and I'm like, well, that's all well and great. You have basketball courts that are empty and tennis courts and racquetball places that are empty. It's like, what happened to the skating rings? Or, laser tag. When I was growing up, it's like laser tag. It's like, hey, laser tag. I'm like, oh well, they're on all these game systems, shooting and killing people, and what do you think they're gonna think when they grow up? If they're not good parenting. So like, well, we could teach them team sports. Hey, well, hey, you got a problem? Okay, cool. Well, let's teach the kids how to work together. I'm like, well, like super martial artists, won all those competitions and education and all this other stuff. I was like, well, I says maybe some of those Navy dependents, those military dependents, you know, should the kids should help out. Let me tell you how that works. Well, you want to go play little chase some gun games and stuff. Go play laser tag. It's like, what do you mean laser tag? Well, you go down there, you play laser tag, you team sports. You guys say, hey, okay. So you get one team, the other team, they go down and play laser tag. It's like, well, nobody wants to pick the little guy or this other guy, and it's like, oh, because all these other guys, they're like, and I'm like, wait a minute, hold on. Well, if the little guy over there is like super genius, then that's like writing a playbook, saying, hey, this is what you got to do and this is what you got to do. We used to play online games with, PlayStation. I remember SOCOM, SOCOM, you had a little headset and you tell them, hey, this is what I'm going to do, this is what I'm going to do. And the other guy would be like, yeah, you take and go this way and I'm going to go that way. And, I hear it nowadays, all I hear is cussing and fussing and stuff. And I'm looking at the parents and I'm like, hey, man, what's going on here? So I'm like, hey, if there was laser tag stuff, disconnect them from the digital stuff a little bit. It's like maybe they could go down there and actually participate in something in the real world. And we're like, well, we could make the real world like a game zone. Like, wait, the real world like a game zone? It's like, yeah, like a game zone, man. It's like word hunts and word finds, like everywhere. It's like getting education everywhere you go. And then on top of that, you find these cool places to go. And you got a little laser tag here, laser tag there. You got, football here, baseball there, we used to have paintball, You don't want kids playing with BB guns and paintball guns shooting at each other, But they had these, used to have these paintball zones, You go out and play paintball guns, It's like, you don't want kids shooting each other with paintball guns, but when I was growing up, we had laser tag. So I was like, laser tag, And then you'd have to be like, really, really just in a vicinity, And I'm like, so we had to play harder to try to hide from each other playing laser tag because, they weren't really precise back then. So we had to be really, really good. So now they got newer technology, make better laser tag guns, You want to play Alien Arena, play Alien Arena and then go down and play laser tag. There's so many ideas and so many things and solutions you could do. And then, it just comes with, well, the security of the nation starts with the children, with the kids and the families. So we had Department of Homeland Security, Department of Human Services, Department of Children and Families, trying to build everybody together to work together in a community. North hasn't changed much. Everybody looks like they're working together pretty good up here. Matter of fact, they got a lot of those ideas in play right now. I mean, it's pretty cool up here. I went through Michigan. It looked pretty cool. New York looks pretty cool. Virginia's awesome. You got your laid back places, your urban places, your countries, and your cities. Like, hey, drive to Chicago. Yeah, I couldn't forget about Chicago. Sitting there in the Center for Disease Control over there in Atlanta back in the day, and I'm like, they showed me this movie with this van. So they had these shuttle vans driving around Florida, shuttling people to the airport. Hey, so I'm trying to say, hey, we had this little baseball game going on. It was supposed to be a psychological education, so they sent me out of there to take me out to the ball game. So the baseball players went on strike, and I hated that because it's like, how can the baseball teams go on strike? So I stopped watching baseball, and so as is, it's like, well, we're trying to teach those people out in the projects, project families, doing projects with their kids. So we're like, well, figure out what they're doing, and maybe we could build better projects for them. So better projects is better education. So mix and match kind of thing. It's like playing Scrabble, but everywhere you go, you just kind of, think positive and build positive things, and then you can be positive people. Hey, that's positivity. And I started up and said, hey, here's some music for people that believe in God, and here's some music for people to think positively. See, both sides of the fence. That's one clear silver lining, gray line right down the center. And it says, hey, we got people who believe in God here. And if they're lost and don't believe in God, some kind of higher power or spirit, there you go. Spirit de Santis. See? Spirit de Sane test. See? We got to figure out how many people are sane down there in Florida. So it was a movie, Inner Space, Jack Tripper. So it's the governor of Florida. He's a Democrat, but kind of sounds like Jack Tripper. So we're like, hey, guys, Spirit de Santis. See? The sane test. See? So we want to figure out how many people down here still got their sanity. And they call it in the department, the DSMV, the Diagnostic Statistical Manual, for value, what kind of values you've got in your mind, and what we say is it's the sane test. We're like, well, it's the it's like all these different disorders and stuff. So we're like, oh, disorders. It's like, well, if we get all the disorders to work together to become orderly, then we wouldn't have to have a bunch of orderlies walking around to snatch them up and take them places. Or then you got the other people, snatch them up and play fucked up games with them. So it says, well, Spirit de Sane test. See what we want to do is get people to think on the same page. That's like a PA for General Electric. Your brain has synapses that transmit electrical signals. So what we do is, we gotta, People's America, general elections. See? So elect to do positive things and build positive places with positive people. See? It's not really that hard. Just had a pretty good, POA, Power of Association, or Peoples of America when I was growing up in those communities. You see military brats, see? I call them rugrats, moving around all over the country. And anyways, that's my thoughts on that. And I was on that van, in that movie, it was on the van, had all those little people, all the old people. We were taking them around in the van, taking them to the ball games because they were crazy. And it was supposed to be a psychological solution to help those senile people. See, senile people, because their it's in their brains, what they're seeing, is like on the Amazon, Nile, So we built Amazon so we could ship products and services and try to help people be more creative. And they were thinking like, maybe that'll work. So I just want to mention that we had a hot dog stand in the old mall, the mall, in Titusville. And I used to go there in high school and get hot dogs all the time. I had the Chicago dog and stuff. So Now they got a hot dog stand in there again. That's a pretty good idea. That's it's a black man. He started that little hot dog stand again, and he had a pretty good idea. Now all those other people in there kind of doing stuff, and trying to rebuild that mall. And the thing about rebuilding the mall that's falling apart is that you got to put value in it, and the value is not just in the products; it's in the people and the way that you sell the product. So, if you sell the product for positivity, then more people will buy, and it creates a better economy, and that economy creates jobs. And some of those other things I mentioned, those are pretty good ideas. And people like play zombie wars and shit, then make a little warehouse with crazy zombie stuff with laser tag and stuff. Think positivity. And then while you're doing that with your kids, they're playing these games and watching TV, make sure they're watching positive movies and teach them about morals and ethics and how to be proper and speak properly. And then maybe, they'll grow up to be better citizens. Now, the BC Temple Church should be better citizens, not better crap. I hate to say it like that, but I'm a little bit blunt. Can't help it. Anyways, so that's my take some notes from Chicago. Yeah. Old bombers, why not be so bad? Remember I said all the presidents, past and present, should work together for a better future? Huh? Food, not bombs. Remember Orlando said food, not bombs? And they're handing out food to all these homeless people. So I'm like, food, not bombs. Food for your mind. It's called wisdom with good education. I heard someone say you got to use common sense, but common sense doesn't always work when you got insane people walking around everywhere in Florida like they're in an insane asylum. So I've been watching that for a long time. So I got on a boat, went sailing. I came back and told somebody, hey, I got to set some stuff right, set the record straight. So I went in there. I guess I couldn't do it. So I says, well, let's go have a cool project then. So instead of Americans being here and Americans being there and then having these people lost in the projects, everybody work together and make one big project. And that is what I think the world should be like everywhere. You see all these different countries and technologies and businesses, small businesses, big businesses. See, the ingenuity of America was we had these big Fortune 500 companies, and then all of a sudden it started choking out all these little companies and little businesses. But those little businesses, those are the ones that come up with new ideas to make the bigger businesses better. It's called products and services and solutions. So there you go. I'm going to go take another ride, see where I end up next.